Yes, yes, yes. We are live and in color. Yes, yes, the champ is here. The champ is here, and I'm excited. Intimate discoveries, unveiling connections, heart to heart. Another prime evening to talk about intimate discoveries and intimate moments in an environment where we have superficial conversation. We dive deep, asking the hard questions, talking about things that we can do to improve each other's communication. The vulnerability, as we know, the vulnerability is the birth of intimate relationships. I am your host, Champ Franklin. We have a dynamic show today as we deep into I'm talking about what it means to be intimate, what it means to have a safe space, and we are going to get after today. Let's go!
They said I wouldn't make it, but I'm here now.
Yes, the champ is here.
And I'm here.
Man, I'm so excited to be here today. Yes.
Cause I'm a
champion.
A champion.
Yes, oh my gosh. I am so excited.
Cause I'm a champion.
Woo! Yes, yes, yes. Love on me today, baby. Ow! Yes! Yes, oh my gosh, we are live and in color. Yes, thank you so much for your love, your support. This is an amazing time. And I want to say thank you for all those who have liked, who have subscribed, and who have shared the show. We have just celebrated, let me see, 1,000, over 1,000 downloads. We published over 50 episodes. And this is exciting. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. And like I say, we've been on here 1 year and we have published at least on average one show per week. 52 and counting. This is a huge accomplishment, and I'm thankful for the opportunity. I'm thankful to be here, and it is just absolutely phenomenal to be here and to be able to share in this great experience, right? And that's just it. We are live. Yes, and so as soon as our guests come on, we're gonna get right on into it. But if you or someone you know who is interested in coming on the show, sharing with us, talking about intimacy, talking about relationships, and if you know somebody, look at this thing here. Boy, I'm telling you, the devil is a liar. The devil is a liar. There we go. Come on in here. Come on in here. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. We getting it in. And I'm telling you, I don't care who it is, I don't care what's going on. The show must go on. And we gonna do it. We gonna roll. Oh my gosh, here we go. Oh my god, let me see here. KJ trying to get on. Intimate discoveries. Hold on, let me see here. Hold on. Intimate discovery. Okay, got it. Oh my gosh. Hey, who is this Leah? Ow! Oh my gosh. Hold on, look at that. Leah, hey, how you doing? Invite to come on the show today. We are excited to have you here. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, got it. Who is this here? Invite. Yes. Oh, come on back on here. Here we go. Let me see here, Leah. Invite to speak. Come on.
Hi,
We
y'all.
we Hey, how's it going?
Hi, I'm good.
Oh, good, good, good. This is Leah. Where you calling in from? Oh,
I'm
that's a big
I'm
queen
in
right there.
I'm
Oh
in
my,
Texas.
you're in Texas. Oh my gosh, we are doing great stuff. You have dialed in on a great day. We have our special guest, Queen KJ, coming on today. She just showed up. And we're
Mhm.
excited to have her here because we're continuing in our discussion on untreated trauma and how that affects relationships. And so
Mhm.
our guest tonight is the lovely KJ, and her name is Chandra and
Kendra.
Kendra.
Yes.
Thank
Get
you,
it right.
Kendra Johnson, who goes by Queen KJ.
Yes.
She's a native of North Carolina. She's a community herbalist, owner of Teas and Tinctures Holistic Wellness Shop, and I had an opportunity to meet this young lady.
Oh my God, are you like pagan or Wiccan?
Said again.
No, I wouldn't say that. I love my ancestors. I love my
Okay.
ancestors, but no.
I'm more like on the pagan side.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
So I
good.
like doing like the earth stuff and like the
Yes. We're all related.
yes.
Yes, beautiful. And so we have the queen on here, Leah. And so what we're doing today is we're talking about untreated trauma, and we invited Queen on the show today. And if you have something that you want to share, you can more than welcome to share as well. I have, like I say, we have KJ on, and she's going to talk to us about her experience, her journey in dealing with traumatic experiences, and what led her to this wonderful journey as the owner of Teas and Tinctures Holistic Wellness Shop. Right. So let's give her a round of applause for KJ.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Ow!
you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This is beautiful. So how's it going? How's it going, KJ?
It's going well. It's going good. I'm settled in, sipping
Mm-hmm.
on my tea,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, enjoying the current moment. I'm trying to stay grounded in the moment that I'm in. So currently, I'm feeling great.
Oh, good, good, good. And so we had an opportunity to, you and I met down, was it off a trade street
Yes.
a couple months ago, and I'll tell you, um, your the teas. My favorite has been the CBD infused soap,
Hmm.
and I've given it to my friends, their moms, and this is something that we love, 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 love. So, tell us about your journey.
So, well, yes, I am the owner of Teas and Tinctures Holistic Wellness Shop. I actually have been on the well, I've been dealing with herbs all my life. Period. Point blank. All my life. As far as just being outside, I was at a event yesterday, and Dr. Parker actually she mentioned about how the things that you do when you're a child, you start to do them when you become an adult. And it's like,
Mhm.
she talked about how she used to play doctor with her teddy bears and things like that. And now as an adult, she's a doctor. And so it was the same journey for me in herbs. I'm playing outside, really earthy. Um, and really, I mean, I'm trying to get into it, but that's pretty much like where my journey began.
Mhm.
I was really listening to. I really had a time to really sit down because I'm always on the go. So I really got an opportunity to sit down and listen to the episode. I think it was episode 77,
Mhm.
and it really talked about that unhealed trauma and the signs, what happens when it's unhealed. So I'm still in that moment
Mhm.
because, and just to jump into it, I hate it. Am I jumping into it too soon?
Absolutely, absolutely. Come on, talk to us.
Okay, okay. So, yeah, it's just I was just stuck in that moment because I completely agree with everything Dr. Parker and the other young lady. Her name escapes me. What was her? Who was her?
Golden.
Golden.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, we got Dr. Parker. She's on Instagram Live right now, so she just came in. So
Okay.
she's here. I'm. Oh my God, this is just an exciting show, and this is a small world.
Yes.
I'm telling you, I had no idea that the great Dr. Parker was connected to KJ,
Mhm.
Queen KJ. Yes, and so KJ was telling us about her, you know, thinking back on one of the episodes when we talked about unhealed trauma or untreated trauma and the impact that it has on relationships. And you were saying, um, KJ.
Mhm. Oh, so yeah, I can actually vouch for that specific episode, and that really is what led me here to my herbal journey because um and some of the things they talked about, the experiences they have as far as like childhood trauma,
Hmm.
it's specifically around childhood sexual trauma, and even when she touched bases, or they both touched bases on being a teenage mom. I was a teenage mom.
Hmm.
I had my first child at 15.
Hmm.
So that experience and the unique experience of it to get here to where I am today to heal and help other people, I had to transition. I had to grow, and it was hard growing when you're healing from trauma. That is like in your era, you don't talk about it. You know what goes on in your house stays in your house, and then you just don't talk about it. And it's no offense, but that's just the era that where everyone grew up in. In my being an '80s baby,
Hmm.
so I
Yeah.
don't know if you can relate as far as rules of your household.
I can definitely relate. I experienced childhood traumas myself growing up in a drug house, and being around like kids, teenage pregnancy on the west side of Chicago. When I was in eighth grade, we had a guy having his first baby. We had two guys in having babies in eighth grade, and two of the young ladies were in seventh grade.
Yeah.
Uh, and so that was a traumatic experience for me. But I was like, listen, I ain't having no babies.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. But the thing is that with your trauma, and your journey on in healing, you didn't have. Did you have a break? You know, having a child. How did you separate the time to heal and also being a mom?
I don't think that it wasn't until really COVID that I actually took that space to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And just after, so I have a loving family, very, very supportive family. It wasn't for my family. Um, I know I couldn't have been to where I'm at today as far as the support system of helping out with, my daughter and everything. But in that same structure, I came from a single parent household. So it was my mom working, 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 doing what she has to do, and as an adult now, I can understand it. You have to heal past, you don't know the trauma that your parent has. That's why it's important for you as a parent now to heal so that I'm not putting unknown trauma on your children, just situations like that. But so yeah, I just don't even know. Okay, so I think the most traumatic situation of the teenage pregnancy wasn't so much being a teenage mom, and it was so much of hiding. I hid my birth until I was like 8.5 months pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And going through that, and you're holding that. I think that was like a very detrimental part where I had a chance to. It could have been either way. Like when Dr. Parker mentioned um, how you have repressed emotions, you don't know how to communicate, you might not heal. I could have stayed in that space, but it was like I didn't have time. I had a point because I came from on another side of a good parent household, seeing my mom know how to work. I had a work ethic. Then I had a relationship with God. So it was like praying and knowing that, I am a teenage mom, but I have responsibilities now. So I have to do this because I don't want to be what I see around me. So you have to have a little bit, or I had a little bit of, I have to do it, You got to get it done. So I got it done. I graduated high school. I went to college, graduated college, um, went into law enforcement. It was law enforcement in the military, went into law enforcement, I worked. I did have a child on the way. And where the work ethic was, because instead of dealing with those emotions, I put myself into my work. And it wasn't until, like I said, 2019 that I really felt like counseling was the best option
Mhm.
because you do have to talk to people.
Mm. So that's a good point that you bring out. And Dr. Park, if you have something you want to share, and you can definitely chime in at your leisure. We love it when Dr. Park is on. She's a phenomenal instructor, phenomenal facilitator. She's done some work over with our fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi. And when you need someone to come and talk to your audience about mental health, about wellness, you definitely want to reach out to Dr. Parker, and you can reach her at Parker and Company Wellness Group. That's her Instagram. Company is CO Wellness and CO Wellness Group. So you can reach out to her out there. So yeah. So how's it going, Dr. Parker?
Pretty good. Good evening to you both. Thank you for letting me join in. I just think it's great that you're doing this and the people that you're going to reach. Just being able to listen to identify to the topic that we're talking about. Some people still are suppressing those feelings and just existing and coping the best way possible. So I do want to commend Queen for getting up here, just opening up. It's also therapeutic just to speak. Kind of like when they say when you're preaching to someone, you're preaching to yourself.
Yeah.
So it's good for the soul to be able to talk about it, talk through it, and in that you don't know the lives that you're touching in the process. So thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we'll definitely appreciate it. And we know that we have a lot of parallels here in just with the three of us being in. I grew up in Chicago. Where are you from, Dr. Parker?
Charleston,
Charleston, South Carolina, and you're from North Carolina, um, um, Queen. And I remember growing up with my cousin, who was sexually abused and ended up having a baby, getting pregnant by her abuser, which was our uncle. And and I it wasn't until years until I ran into her that she told me that who it was, and how she went months hiding her pregnancy. She always had on this big jacket. And go ahead, talk to me, Queen.
I mean, no, but that's true. Um, yeah, I can agree. I wouldn't even say for me personally, it wasn't big close. I played basketball and everything. Like it was just, I was very active. I was very active, but not knowing how to talk about it would have been one thing. You not knowing how, you not knowing who, and then you hold on to it.
Hmm.
So that can be in itself very traumatic. That
Hmm.
definitely can. So
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we talk about here, is one the important thing of in the relationship is having that safe space where you can actually
damn,
come and
it
talk.
really is.
Hmm.
Because if you don't heal from that, and from my experience, if you don't heal from that, that does when you get older and you're in relationships. Like I'm in a relationship, I'm in a loving relationship, but it took us time, and we still work on communicating because everybody has their own traumas, and if you don't heal, if you don't get counseling, you don't do different things to make the situation better, but you live in that situation, then of course your relationship is gonna reflect where you at.
Hmm. So let's talk about managing triggers, right?
Okay.
And how do you manage triggers, because those are things that you can't control when you get triggered, right? And how do you how do you manage it? How do you navigate through that?
I think that that comes with knowing yourself or learning yourself, getting to know yourself, and actually having hard conversations to know that not always you're the victim.
Mhm.
Or it comes to a point where you have to take, and that may go back to what Dr. Parker was saying in the episode, where you take accountability.
Mhm.
So, and I'm saying within the scope of a relationship. That's
Mhm.
what I'm talking about. Managing your triggers. And then those that branches off. Because if you are like a firecracker, I went through a point where I was a harsh firecracker. You hear me? I was fired. So and it didn't take much to provoke me, and I was gonna get with you. But that's not a good place to live in, because holistically that's bitterness, that's releasing all kinds of things into your system. To now you're dealing with arthritis, you're dealing with um rheumatoid arthritis, you're dealing with liver and kidney damage, all those type of toxins, because you're dealing with anger that you can't let go of. So it does have come to a point where you have to realize that you don't want to be in that space and you don't want to feel like that. So what can I do to not feel like that?
Okay, you brought up you went into the medical part of it and how um, you have these how anger and unresolved trauma or untreated trauma can affect your health,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I know for me managing trauma, I had an experience this past weekend where I put myself in a situation that actually triggered myself. That I had to realize that I'm being triggered by putting myself in this situation, right? And I did that. Nobody else did it. I ended up called myself being helpful and all this other stuff ended up triggering myself. And I said, hold on. Let me remove myself from this because I'm being triggered. And it takes, like you say, it takes that self accountability, because we don't, I know that I can't control when I'm triggered.
Mm-hmm.
I can't control it. All I can do is control what happens through the triggering, right? Well, how do I respond when I am triggered? You have something, Dr. Parker?
I would say immediately as you recognizing what your triggers are, beginning to breathe, because
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
relaxation technique is biofeedback. You know, all of the things that you initially start feeling when you're triggered, maybe a little bit of heart palpitation, or
Mm-hmm.
you're might start to sweat a little bit, or your thoughts are racing. Breathing helps you through all that. You feel your pulse and pulsating and all these things. Recognizing, okay, yeah, this is a test.
Mm-hmm.
And just talking yourself through the emotion, stopping to pause and breathe. And when people are triggered, it's a false reality. You begin to feel that threat when it's not really a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or it might be. You have to realize if this is a real threat or if this is something that I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling based off of the past trauma. So recognizing the difference between a reality and what's false, because you can very well be in a situation where, okay, this is too much like it was, and I have every right to feel the way I am. So let me remove myself. Or do I think that this is what it is, but really it's not. And now I'm feeling like I'm in danger. I'm feeling all these other things, but it's not a reality. Okay, like let's say for instance, one of the biggest problems in relationships may be infidelity. Okay, so you've got someone who was with someone that they haven't healed from them being cheated on. Let's say a woman is with this guy and she's been with him for 5 years. She loved him so much, and he cheated on her. And she never forgave him. She was angry, and all those feelings that she felt, the paranoia, now just not being able to trust. They finally break up, and she goes on and enters another relationship. But she or he has not healed from the infidelity in that previous relationship. So they start projecting that fear of cheating, looking for a better term, but infidelity. They project that onto the next person,
or their insecurities.
Insecurities. So now the next person has to compensate for what the other person did, and now there's sometimes trying to help heal that person and trying to validate them. Like, okay, no, that's not what's happening, and you're trying to do everything you try to give that person what they need for security, like transparency.
Mm-hmm.
This triggers me. This is a trigger for me. When you don't answer your phone, this is a trigger for me. And so this person says, "Well, I'm not going to. I didn't ignore your phone call. Sorry, I missed your call. I had this going on. Instead of saying I was busy. Well, now." What were you busy doing? And now my mind is racing. And now I'm back to where I was. And now, were you cheating? So when you're not healed from the things that you experienced, you kind of could potentially project that onto another person. And all of these things are not reality. And then you draw a wedge between the two of you, and something that could have been great ends up being, ruined too soon because of not being able to heal before entering something new. So it's important to recognize what's real and what's a projection, or what's something that it's just a fear, and working through that.
Yeah. I agree with you. I appreciate you sharing that part. For me, I know that I try to nip those moments in the bud when somebody is trying to project something on me, or like if someone is like I say I have this friend who has issues with men, and I have to remind them, hold on. I'm not the dude who peed in your cornflakes, right? I didn't do it. And as a matter of fact, the thing is, whatever happened in your relationship, in your life, is not going to happen again. It's not going to happen. So whatever energy that you are feeling, whatever past experience that you had going on, that's not going to happen ever, ever, ever again. So be present with me and try to get you some help, because it's irritating when a person gets triggered and they start spiraling. And you just can't control. You're like, hold on, put the gun down.
And now you start to feel stressed.
Now I'm feeling stressed because I'm being triggered because you talking to me and you're just like I'm like nobody, right? I'm like, nobody talk to me that way.
And I think that's because to them, even though you're saying it's never going to happen again, it happened. It's happening now to them now, and that's why they're acting crazy. Or I don't want to say crazy, but they're spiraling. So that's what I think. Now, I'm 100% with you, because then I feel like I would have to make a decision. Do I still want to deal with you? Because I can't take the stress. You stressing me out, accusing me of things that's not happening. That's just too much for me personally. So, both parties got to make a decision. Is it for them or is it not?
Yeah. And so one of the things I want to also talk about is your holistic approach, your holistic wellness approach to dealing with stress and dealing with trauma, and what are some of the remedies that you have at T and Tinctures holistic wellness shop, right? Tell us some about that.
So I'm really into holistic wellness teas. I'm into things surrounding anxiety and stress. That is my personal passion. That is what has helped me. Excuse me.
Mhm.
So like I like grounding. I think grounding is really, really helpful. And those are some of the recommendations that I would make. Grounding. Um, a lot of people say, oh, it's a little like hocus pocus or whatnot, but there are actually scientific studies showing that grounding is really beneficial for you. And it releases like ions. And then if you want to get on the spiritual thing, if we came from dirt and we connected to dirt,
Mhm.
you know, so it's holistic wellness. It reduces anxiety, um, and it helps to heal your body, like physical ailments as well. Some people are into tree hugging. And even though that's not 100% my thing, it actually does help
To hug a tree.
to hug a tree. I promise you, to hug a tree actually helps.
Listen, listen. If that's something that helps you, that's natural. Um, hey.
it, it does. It does. But outside of that though, whatever I believe that if it's what you connect to. Praying,
Mhm.
if you're into praying, if you're into believing in a higher power, what helps you bring down your anxiety and really connect to yourself is the most important thing. So really getting to know yourself. And that's what the teas allow you to do. Like, because they're herbs, like teas, like if you're dealing with high stress or you're dealing with insomnia, chamomile will be something good because it's going to promote rest and relaxation. If you're dealing with like maybe emotional trauma and even sexual trauma, you could add herbs like rose, lavender, even sage, very aromatic herbs, and
Mhm.
that helps to soothe and calm anxiety. So
Mhm.
each person is different, but there's just so much. So many things you can do with herbs, and that's what really helped me because I did go to church, I prayed. I wasn't into like pills, like as far as antidepressants, because I've always been um, natural. I
Mhm.
grew up with my great grandparents and my mom, and we're always like gardening or eating from the garden, so it's just I didn't feel right by taking any pills, but I know I needed something, me personally, to deal with stress or drama, and trauma. So I started taking these teas and herbs and really learning and studying. And it really brought like peace to me. And I'm a Virgo. And so I like to help.
Mhm.
And this is what my actual calling is.
Oh, beautiful. And so someone asked, do you have any relief therapy for back pain?
Um, I could recommend like what herbs that help from with back pain, but then when it comes to like specific, then I will refer you to like a consultation because everybody's body is different.
Mhm.
And so if you want something to is specifically tailored to you, I have to know you. I might recommend white willow is good for pain, and you actually can use it's actually the herb that's used in Tylenol
Mhm.
and different aspirins. So I could recommend that for them, but then um, it might be another herb, valerian root, for somebody else. So it's just based on the person and their constituents.
Mhm.
I'm getting real science,
No,
like
we want you to
herbs
be
on you,
scientific. We want you to be scientific because we want folk to know that you can come to Intimate Discoveries Heart to Heart and get some good information.
yeah, you can. You
Yeah,
can.
absolutely. Yeah, and so you would and so how do someone go about setting up a an appointment with you, the consultation to talk about um their kind of pains or situation that they're having that you could possibly give them a holistic wellness approach.
So you can email me currently. I think that's the best way to contact me. You can
Mhm.
call the shop or you can email me. Really, any platform that I'm on, you can message me and ask me a question. And I'm on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Um, and then I have my email and my website, which
Mhm.
is teasetinctures.com.
Yes, and talk to us. I know I'm going on down your products and stuff because tell us about that soap you got. Um,
I have a number of soaps. One of the I say currently the most popular soap is the Sun Aroma soap. That's not a soap that I actually make myself. A lot of my products I do handcraft and make, but it's really good. It's natural. It's organic.
mhm,
It lathers really well. Um, I like all my soaps.
mhm. I
All
know
my
this
soaps.
one that with CBD infusing. It just relaxes you, relaxes me a great deal, and I absolutely love it. So thank you for introducing me to
Yes.
that. Yeah. So Dr. Parker, so tell us, you know, some of the signs that we may be experiencing of untreated trauma.
Shortness of breath, sometimes heart palpitations, sometimes anxiety. You may also have problems with your GI tract, like constant nausea or stomach discomfort, because again, when you're again back to the brain, central nervous system, it's in control of so many neurons and so many chemical processes, the hormones that you secrete. So something as simple as skin discoloration, acne out of control, some type of eating disorder, whether you're eating too much or not at all, if you're having extreme or excessive weight gain or weight loss in a short period of time, not being able to sleep at night, sleepless nights, feeling fatigued after getting hours of sleep, sleeping too much, excessive sleeping, detaching yourself. You feel like you would rather be alone all the time. Everybody needs some time alone, but if you're spending too much time alone, something is going on. So these are just some very basic signs that you're dealing with some type of past trauma.
And I know for me, I went years with untreated trauma, and I didn't know that it was affecting me because being a man, I got to be strong and I got to keep pushing on and suppress my feelings and emotions, which I didn't realize that that's what I was doing, and that I can only suppress it for so long, right? It's
Mhm.
like you turn on a fire hydrant. You can only hold that cap down for so long.
And the fact that you say that also emotions. So if you find that yourself having a short fuse or overreacting, or sometimes where people wouldn't react a certain way, you're a ticking time bomb, and you're and having rage moments, or sometimes you have outbursts, crying, unexplained, very emotional highs, not being able to understand people and their emotions. That's a sign as well. Not being able to understand other people's emotions, and addiction, any form of addiction.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Sometimes people don't even realize they use addiction for some type of coping mechanism. So they associate whatever that addiction is to relieving, providing relief from whatever that thought is, whatever that feeling is. You just transfer over one bad thing for another. So,
And
So
to piggyback off of what you're saying, sometimes when you think about addictions, you might think of sexual addictions, which is common, food addictions, but work is an addiction as well. Like
mhm.
that is an addiction if it helps you cope. Because I think for me personally, that is the channel I was on, and I mentioned COVID because COVID, it was a time where everyone sat down. And me, I felt like, okay, I got my house, I'm making good money. I'm in corporate America. I did all the things, got my privacy fence up. I'm really like, feeling myself. And I sat there and it was like a time for just things started to unravel. And it was no reason. It wasn't like I was going through any hard times or anything like that, but it was things that I did not address
Mm-hmm.
because I said, I never have time. I don't have time for this. I have to do this. Yeah, that happened. This happened. I was a teenage mom. I experienced sexual trauma at a very young age. Um, but I don't have time to focus on it because how's that going to benefit me getting to my next step that I want to go?
Mm-hmm.
So having to sit down and really be in that moment and really address things. And I was like, okay, well, let's get some counseling. And I thought that the counseling honestly was like some bull. Like, okay, here she goes. She asking me questions. I need to be asking her questions. What is she talking about? This is just really how I'm thinking, but I'm going through the process. But in those questions, when I had time by myself or I started to journal, it was like, wow, okay, I never addressed this. We never talked about this. And yeah, I went to a point through a point where I'm a mom. I'm a great mom. I'm a real mom. And but I also sometimes found that I was emotionally or physically detached from my children. Like they hug me too much. I'm like, oh, okay, let me give them a hug. But it took me a moment. And this is my oldest children, specifically my daughter. I love my daughter and she loves me. We have a great relationship. But that's stuff that we had to talk about as well. As far as, you know, I may have been too detached and I allowed her space to talk to me and tell me how she really felt growing up with me while I'm growing up with her. So yeah, I don't lost my train of thought.
You're doing absolutely fantastic. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry that what happened to you, abusive, that happened. I'm sorry that that happened. And I just want to continue. I just want to just continue to have you in prayer and that you
Yes, but
continue.
I don't, I'm not, I believe things happen for a reason. And I believe that, when you end up to where you're at and you use those experiences to help
Hmm.
you to grow. So I
Right.
don't really like, thank you for your apology, but I'm not going to say it's not needed. It's taken in like love and light.
Mhm. Right.
It's taken in
And,
love and light.
and, and so for me, one of the things that I practice is empathy and sympathy with someone.
Mm.
When I hear someone had gone through something,
Okay.
I try to I want to recognize that and to say that I'm sorry that that happened because
Mm.
here's the thing. Other people go through other experiences and grow from non-traumatic experiences,
Yeah.
right? Where they're not sexually assaulted or they're not abused and not dealing with it and growing up in a impoverished environment or abusive family or whatever, and they learn from other stuff and they
Hmm.
grow from that stuff. And that's all I'm saying is things happen for, like you said, things happen for a reason. But let's get another reason for some good stuff to
Right.
happen to me.
Okay. You're
Right.
absolutely right. I agree with that.
And that's it, right? And so one of the things Dr. Parker was saying is that when you have untreated trauma, it inhibits or it prevents you from recognizing when other people are going through stuff, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
That can be 100% true. And um, even I would say from a mother's perspective, um, if my children sometimes were in pain and I'm like, okay, brush it off, or I don't feel like I pay a lot of attention, like I treated them, we
Hmm.
go take care of you. But I don't believe that from a mother, and I may be being hard on myself, I don't know. I was as loving because I just couldn't recognize it. And then in a relationship, it took me some time to learn that, okay, this person has feelings too. And yes, they're a man, yes, this, yes, that, but they have feelings too. And they can go through stuff. They're allowed to go through things too. And I
Hmm.
just think that that's something that is a generational thing as well, unfortunately.
Right. You want to say something, Dr. Parker?
Yeah, I'm just even as simple as when you're expected to be so tough you don't have a soft spot when people are emotional because you just couldn't have emotions or show emotions. You just had, no matter what, you just had to keep going. You weren't allowed to feel certain things. So you weren't allowed to cry. Suck it up, keep going. You'd be tough. And, when you aren't, when you don't feel love, sometimes it may be hard to give that person something that you didn't feel. And you see that with in mothers and in fathers, especially when you have a father and son relationship, and you're talking about a father who had to work all the time and to make to keep the house running. He might have not been there physically to give hugs and say I love you, son, and do these things and build that bond. And so that is the first relationship on how to teach your son how to be a man. And then you have some men who were just not around, and the mother is playing both mother and father, so they don't know what it is to be like to a man. They don't have that male figure. They may have a grandfather, but it's not the same because that grandfather doesn't have the energy of a young father. They're not able physically fit and able to do the things that a 25-year-old dad, 35-year-old dad, 40-year-old dad would do with their son. They're 60 years old, 70 years old, and your energy and expectations are those of a young dad that you see your friend's father have, and you see this family over here doing. And so you don't know how to give that to your son, and you're learning. You're trying to break that curse. You're trying to be different, but you don't have a mold. So now you're looking for someone in the community. That's why it's important to get involved in things, to give back and be a part of organizations that are bigger than yourself, because you're building those bonds. And we're a village. It takes a village. And you hear that all your life. It takes a village to raise a child, because the one parent may not be able to be everything. You might learn this from Miss Jackie and this from Mr. Charles. You didn't have your father. Your father was in your life, but he died prematurely. He died at a young age, car accident or health condition or whatever have you. It wasn't that your mom and your dad didn't make it. It was just something that took him away. So you still didn't have that. Same thing with mom. But you're looking people are expecting you to give something that you never really experienced, and you're trying your best. Just like, say for instance, let's make it real simple. You have a loved one that loves lasagna, and you've never made lasagna, but you're gonna try to make lasagna because they love lasagna, and you want to give them lasagna because they love it, and so you're gonna try your best at it, but it might not be the perfect form. But this is your real attempt. This is what you interpret lasagna to be, because you're watching other people make lasagna. You're looking at recipes, but there's so many different recipes. So you're trying to make or give something to someone based off of what you see. But you didn't grow up making lasagna. But now, let's say, for instance, you grew up making macaroni and cheese. Some macaroni and cheese.
Right,
you were making macaroni and cheese all your life.
Right.
And that what that equates to, I can provide for you. I can go out, and so that's what we talk about, love language.
Have y'all seen? Do y'all remember the movie Fences with Denzel Washington?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that's like a prime example of what you just explained. Like, he loved him, but he was hard. He was really hard.
Yeah, and that's what he was taught. But to go back to what you were saying, Doc, that's something that I realized that I was supposed to do with my children. I was required to go and learn how to make lasagna. Right. Although I never had lasagna, I don't know what it looks like. I don't even know the noodles. That's beside the point. That's beside the point. And so right now, your children, or your current relationship is requiring you to have something, right? That you can go get, that is possible, and it's our responsibility to go and get what we have and do our best at presenting that, right? Because they don't know, they don't know if it's wrong or if it's right or whatever. They just like, hey, we supposed to get some lasagna, right? Oh my God, I'll tell you this. There was this. I saw it on social media one time, and the young lady was in the grocery store. She was crying because she thought her mom made lasagna or made. You remember that? She's crying like, oh my gosh, mommy, you've been tricking me the whole time.
I remember that. We had just had like a procedure done with the laughing gas and stuff. So
Yeah.
she was kind of still out of it, and her mom took her to the frozen section. It's just like, yeah. Yeah, she said, and you think you know people. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my gosh. And it's beautiful. It is beautiful when you act in love,
Yeah.
right? When your intentions are going through love, right? And so let me I was in a conference, this heart work conference, and one of the things that a quote that they had was, leadership without love is manipulation, right? And so I wanted to just
I like
huh?
I like that.
Yeah, leadership without love is manipulation. And so when we look at our relationships, are you leading in love? Are you coming to um, the relationship in a loving fashion, in a caring space? Because I think I know it's important, and I know a lot of relationships suffer because we aren't getting the help that we need. We're not taking the time to journal and write down stuff.
To do the work.
To do the
To
work.
do the work. There it is. To do the work.
Want to be better. You know, you have to want to come out of that. You know, some people are woe with me, you know. Oh, I don't know. And yeah, you know, there's just a Debbie Downer or what's another negative
Negative Nancy.
You know, I don't know. It's another word for a man version of it.
Problem Peter.
Yeah.
Problem Paul.
Yeah, just never to see the bright side of anything.
Yeah.
Perspective.
Right.
Number two, do you want to stay there? Because healing starts with first acknowledging whatever the problem is. But take that all anonymous. So they say, you know, you first have to admit that there is an addiction or whatever the problem is. Admit it, own it. And that's even when we repent, when we want to be forgiven. And now I'm taking it on another level. When we want to be forgiven for something, the first thing is confessing, you know, what that is that you've done wrong. You know, because that's you have to know that you've done wrong to not to want to do any wrong anymore. And while we're trying not to do these things anymore, and we do, you know, that's where grace comes in. And but it's what's in your heart, you know.
And you know, with my real life experiences with everything that you talk about, that goes back to like toxic relationships. And I went through a huge season, like I would say, yeah, my life of toxic relationships. And then it did around that same time. I was getting about 2019 COVID. I was transitioning from a relationship that was just not the best for neither party. It was horrible. And I had to have that moment too, like, well, why do I keep getting in these relationships? What's going on? Like, come on, this is ridiculous. It's got to be me. I have to take some type of accountability for the roles that I'm playing or what I'm doing to attract this. What is it that I have not addressed in my life?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm just saying, like, that's my real life experience to what Dr. Parker was saying.
And we're coming up on that 1 hour, so we're gonna wrap up real soon. But the thing that I wanted to highlight is the part that you were saying, doing the work. I had gone through therapy at least 10 years. One of the reasons my ex-wife was upset with me because I've been in therapy for so long. And then so she comes into the therapy appointment and I start talking to the guy, or she's telling some stuff and she's like, oh, and the therapist like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And it's like, you've been here all this time and you didn't tell him this?
You're not unpacking.
Right, you're not unpacking. And so I spent most of the time talking about how horrible other people were and how they treat me, and they need to be more polite
Taking your
to
money.
me. Right. You know what I'm saying? They'll put, mayonnaise, they put mayonnaise on my hot dogs. They don't even like mayonnaise. And then before you know it's a whole hour is gone past, and now my appointment is over. And then I get there and
Now you got to book another one.
you got to book another appointment, and you come back, and this time it's not mayonnaise, but it's honey on your pancakes. Right? But the thing is that when my therapist, I went to see a trauma therapist, right? And she's like, Frank, we got to put pen to paper.
Yeah. And it's also an exercise where you write these things down and
Yes.
then it's just letting go of it, or you might write something on a rock and throw it in the water, and that's just about letting it go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
That is, yes.
Yeah. And
I think
so
that works. Yes.
yeah, that's another great tool as well. I didn't even think about that. I can just write a rock and just throw it. You know, yeah. Whatever you need to do to get it off of you, right? To recognize that is in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's something that you can do, and one of the things, like I said, for me, it's just really changed my life. When we was it CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, where I had to write down, where do you get these thoughts from, and is this true, or is this a fact or a fiction? Where did you get this from, and who told you this, and where did you get that? And I'm like, oh my God, I've been punishing my kids, and it was wrong. And where did I get that from? I got it from my dad, or I got it from the streets, right? Or, and the thing that I also learned is that I was training my kids to be in an environment that they would never ever see.
Right.
Right. And that's how they saw me as crazy. Like, I'm like, listen, you don't want to be around drugs. You don't want to be in the gang.
Right.
You
Right.
protect yourself from this. And we live in Frederick, Maryland.
Right. You need to be checking their IG. That's what you got talking about, social media at this age.
Social media. We got to talk about.
Blades in your mouth.
Say that again. What do you say?
Don't be putting blades in your mouth.
Don't be putting blades in your mouth, right? Right. You like blades? What? Mama is crazy.
But one thing is definitely with communicating, it's something as basic as defining terms, and this just goes back with relationships and being able to understand one another. Your definition of love might be different from my definition of love, so we need to come up with a common what our definition is. Your definition of health might look like my definition might be different from health. So what does health look like for you? Define that. Basic things like that. Our environment may have conditioned us to define things in certain ways that are defined differently from others. So when we are communicating in any capacity, in any relationship, some people, when you give them instructions, you have to give them step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. Some people, you just tell them what you want and then they produce it. So it's just breaking down communication, and in order to communicate, the receiver has to understand what the message is. Otherwise, it's not transferred. So.
Well, good stuff. Well, we are coming up on 1 hour, and unless we got Cat Williams on the show, we don't go. I try not to go over an hour. Simply because I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I thank you all for coming on the show. Any last words, Dr. Parker?
Well, I just want everybody to know that your health is important. Your whole overall wellness, and that's your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, and I really want people to be more serious about their health. We get so busy with our day-to-day life and the things that we have going on that we don't slow down enough to just pour back into ourselves. Some things just go unnoticed or missed because we're disconnected from our own selves.
Yeah.
So really just spending time with yourself to identify what you could do to improve where you are. There's a lot of herbs that Queen has to help with a number of things. I know when I had anxiety, passion flower was my go-to. It was just so relaxing. It helps you to sleep as well and just slow you down. Just having a daily routine at night helps you to wind down and relax your mind and detaching from your cell phones. Social media, devil. It's a great resource, but it's also it takes people away from real engagement and makes real connections. And I just want people to just go and get screened for certain things, just so you can help prevent things later.
Yeah.
Listen to your body because it's all connected. It all works together. Stress messes up your hormones. It causes hair loss, causes weight gain. It causes digestive problems. Now, next thing you know, you're on a gluten-free diet because you're sensitive. You have allergic reactions that you never had before, all because of stress. So Queen works with us as well. She does consultations, a holistic approach. I start with an intake screening. We have it on our website. You go in, you fill out all of your background, and then I develop a wellness plan. And she comes in with a herbal approach to your holistic healing. So connect with us. We would love to help you on your wellness journey. And thank you again for having me.
Do you want to give us a number that they can call the office?
Yes, our telephone number is 9577. Let me do that again. I don't call it myself. So 980-428-9577. 980-428-9577. If you're on our Instagram, the page and Facebook page, the number is there as well. It's also on our website, PANDCwellness.com. So that's PNCwellness.com.
Beautiful. We are delighted to have you. Let's give the doctor a round of applause.
Thank you.
Ow! We appreciate you so much. I'm telling you, I appreciate you so much. It's been absolutely great getting to know you. You are very thorough in your approach. Your heart, your mind, your intentions are all in the right place. And we just want to say thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you. And thank you for the platform.
Yes, absolutely. Queen, talk to us. Give us the last thoughts.
Well, make sure that you stay well for the fall. Make sure you take care of your mental health because health is wealth. And you can find me at teasetincture.com, which is www.teasetinctures.com.
Beautiful. Thank you all so much. Thank you again, Doctor. We appreciate y'all for coming on. This has been an amazing show. Heart to Heart with Champ Frank. Ow! We normally have a Golden on. She was on for a minute, but she'll definitely be here next week. She's on Wednesday. So we keeping her in prayer. So bless God. So without further ado,
All right.
yes, you're out. Good to see you. Thanks again. Appreciate you.
Have a good one.
Thank you. We'll see you again. Remember, Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 o'clock. The champ is here. We want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 p.m. here on Intimate Discovery Heart to Heart, where we peel back the onion on what it truly means to be intimate. What it truly means to have meaningful relationships, and what it truly means to be intimate. I'm your host, Frank.
They said I wouldn't make it, but I'm here now.
People didn't think I was gonna be here, baby.
And I'm here to stay, never go down.
Yes,
Cause I'm a
the
champion.
champ is here.
A champion.
Yes.
Cause I'm a champion. Cause I'm a champion. A champion.
Remember, the sky's the limit. Don't stop on the moon. Vulnerability is the birthplace for intimate relationships. And remember, you can do whatever you put your mind to. You just gotta focus. This is Champ, and I'm out. Ow!